Okay, so today we welcome Shrapnel bass player and vocalist Aaron Tucker into the virtual studio. Hi, Aaron. Thanks for joining us.
How's it going, man?
Yeah, good. Thanks for coming on and chatting to us. So how's life going as the new boy in the Shrapnel camp?
Well, it's not too bad, man, to be fair. It could be worse, couldn't it? You know, you get to join a pretty established band with 2 records or 3 EPs under their belt. I've been fans of them for years. I've known them for, 10 years now. Yeah, it was okay. It wasn't supposed to happen, but it did.
So you kind of hit the ground running, really, didn't you? You know, kind of Jay made the decision to kind of move on, and you came in, and you know, before you know it, there was an album out, and obviously, I guess tours should have happened and things, but did it all happen really fast?
Should have, but yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I filled in for a tour for these guys in March last year because they needed a fill-in. And around that time, Jay was saying, I'm not sure if I can do it anymore. And Kai wanted to go off and do university, cut his hair off and be a normie. So, it was up in the air at that moment. I didn't think that Jay would actually leave, to be fair. I thought he was in it for the long haul. I thought maybe he was just having a blip. But no, I didn't expect it. They asked me to join. And got me really drunk, and I said yes. So
you were playing guitar when you stood in, weren't you?
Yeah. I filled in for Chris while he was living in Austria because I was playing for guitar for the Leeds or Doncaster-based band Shrapnel. And I just recorded an album with them, and they asked me to fill in for guitar. And I'd known them for years; they're mates, you know. So I just said, yeah, why not?
So how come you ended up on bass then? I hear that was a little bit of reluctancy. You know, it was like, I'm not touching that 4th string. Chris bullied you into it.
No, yeah, fuck that, man. I was really reluctant. So basically, the first show, I think you said you saw us when we supported Acid Rain in London. Yeah. So before that, I mean, I filled in for a short run with Gamma Bomb for them, and because I knew the material already from filling in for the guitar, but basically, Jay couldn't do it, or he was kind of already left at that point. Sorry, excuse me, I'm on the beer tonight. And then it was basically like I had 3 weeks tops to get all the vocals down, all the bass lines rehearsed and ready for a run with Gamma Bomb. That happened, and then they said, do you want to join, be a permanent member? And I said no, because I didn't want to play bass. So I was part of me was hoping that Chris would come back and be like, don't worry, boy, I'll play bass. All is good. But it didn't happen that way. So they had to keep getting me drunk, really, really drunk in the local pub. And then, the rest is history. I said, yes, biggest mistake in my life so far.
So you'd obviously kind of picked up bass in passing. Was it just a kind of necessity at the time that, you know, I guess most people who can play 6-string can work out how to play 4? Was it, or did you have to work quite hard to get bass a bit more comfortable?
Oh, I mean, fucking hell. I remember playing, because I've never ever played bass before. Like, never had an interest in it. I just see bassists as like, should be like Tom Araya and just smash the fuck out of it and hope it makes a noise. But when I started learning the Shrapnel stuff, at one point I sat there and I was like, Jesus, like, I got to play this and sing at the same time. Like, geez, well, okay. So yeah, it was a bit daunting, especially learning the whole back catalogue. Because obviously, as you know, bass lines aren't necessarily the same as guitar lines. So some of the stuff I had to relearn, some of the stuff was just an easy transition from guitar. The strings are big, man. The strings are big. I don't like it.
You get bigger blisters on your fingers.
Yeah, bigger blisters. I have to put more effort in, and oh god,
it's just hard work.
Tragic.
But, so, you know, was that you're saying that the bass can be, as you say, quite complicated, and is it, you know, is it quite easy to pick up what was done before, or have you kind of put your own spin on it, or, you know, have you kind of tried to follow it by note for note?
I've put my own spin on a lot of the stuff, to be fair, mainly because obviously before, as you know, Shrapnel were a 5-piece, so the bass lines were written for a bassist, and they'd be off the beat sometimes, or just behind the guitar, or a completely different riff. And some of the stuff, I was playing it, and I was sort of like, especially at the start, I've kind of come around to it now a bit more. But I was like, I'm going to have to simplify this down to be able to play and sing it at the same time, because it wasn't written for someone who's singing at the same time. And that's a really big, that's a whole nother mind step. I'm not Geddy Lee, but yeah, I mean, now I sort of like fell into the groove, you know. I mean, we've been together now for, I mean, I've been in the band since, May time, maybe. Well, since the Gamma Bomb tour, really. And yeah, it's just been an evolution of my playing skill and, you know, taking it from guitar to bass, learning the lines properly, you know, getting it locked in with the singing and breathing. But, man, I just hit the fuck out of it. Just hit E all the time, and you can't. You're playing thrash, isn't it?
It's like, just open E's all day long. Yeah,
just open E's, and if someone doesn't like it, fuck you, get up and do better.
Yeah, I'm busy fucking singing. I haven't got time to be doing this shit as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So, kind of joking aside, though, have you kind of gone back and added a bit more in? So all the stuff you kind of trimmed away, has that slowly started to, you know, have you started to make it a little bit more complicated again?
Yeah, I mean, all of it's back in and more now. You know, I'm putting chords and different notes in where they weren't before. Maybe that's coming from a guitarist's perspective, but just to fatten up the live sound in certain places. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of just second nature to me now, but it wasn't to start off with. But I've put my own stamp on it now. There's certain things that were different to when Kai and when Sean played and Adam, but like I say, it's thrash. Most of it's on the E string anyway.
But you're a different vocalist as well, though, aren't you? You know, there's definitely a different kind of tone in your voice, and you know, I think you know you approach things in a different way, and it's always scary for a thrash band to change the vocalist. You know, I was speaking to Jeff from Onslaught last week, and obviously they've just gone through the same thing, and that's a fucking big deal for a band, isn't it? You know, the vocalist changing can be, you know, can make or break.
Man, it can kill a band, man. And can I say, Dave has done so well in Onslaught. You know, he's got a different approach, but it works. You know, as coming from someone like Cy, must be, you know, pretty big boots to step in.
Yeah,
but, yeah, he's done that really well. And with the whole Jay thing, I mean, people say my voice is different to Jay, but personally, from my opinion, I don't see it as different. You know, maybe I have more melody and more range. I mean, me and him both smoke a lot of cigarettes, so there's some limitations somewhere. But, you know, I think I still enjoy doing the black and thrash stuff that he does. And I love singing his vocal lines live, you know, on stuff like Echoes of Emptiness, Raised on Decay, you know, things that we've brought back into the set since I've rejoined. I absolutely love singing them live. So I've got massive respect for Jay. And, you know, if he ever wanted to take the reins again,
he can have the bass.
He can have the bass. Exactly. He can have the bass.
Yeah, so you're saying, so kind of the couple of songs you mentioned there are probably some of the kind of the darkest, the kind of the more blackened ones in the back catalogue. Is that because of your interest and the style of music you like? Because, you know, you can go down a very kind of open and slightly happier thrash sound, can't you? All the way down to, you know, what's, you know, making a big resurgence again at the moment, the real blackened stuff.
Yeah. I mean, Devastator, they're a prime example of that. They've that black and thrash, black and roll sort of stuff, and they're killing it, man. They're killing it. So it does resonate with me more. I'm a massive, I mean, vocal inspiration is the German side of the thrash anyway. So like Smear, Angel Ripper is number one on my list. You know, if I could be that man, I would. But yeah, the black and thrash and Jay's more evil stuff that he'd done on the Raised on Decay album, and some of the things on, I would say, Virus as well, which we don't actually play. I really, it really resonates with me. So yeah, I love it. I love bringing back those old tunes. I know the guys aren't that fond of Raised on Decay because of what happened with it, and, you know, the changing of labels or the label changing hands, etc., going to Universal Music and Spine Farm, and that was a bit of a cock up. But yeah, I love it. I think it's their best album, and Jay's vocals are killer on that. And I was really scared about doing this new album because, you know, when you listen to Jay was on it, man. Jay was great on that album, and that's what I had to go by. That was my benchmark, and I didn't know if I'd hit it. I hadn't sung in 6 years. And then to then join a band, and then 3 weeks later, after doing a run with Gamma Bomb, being like, right, we're in the studio in August. I was like, fuck, okay, shit. Right, you know, that was pretty daunting, but it went okay, didn't it? So.
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, people have, you know, you're definitely getting picked by some people for, you know, top, you know, you're definitely in lots of top 10s and lots of top 5s, and there's quite a few top 1s being kicked around as well. So I think the end result kind of speaks volumes.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't expect it. I think when I joined the band, it was, I'm going to say it was 80% written, the guitars, and the drums. We then probably took another 20% out because, you know, we were not happy with 20% of the album, and then we worked on the 40% together. I did maybe 60% of the vocals mixed with, and then the rest of the 40 was with Nath and Chris. And we didn't have a lot of time to get it ready for the studio, to be honest. But then 4 months of hell, drinking beer, getting pissed, smoking too many cigarettes, blowing my voice out. It paid off. You know, we knew we were sitting on something good, but like you say, like it's in people's top ones, top fives. You know, Blabbermouth has put it for a contender for album of the year against Testament. You know, who would have thought 4 guys from Norfolk could compete with Testament? And that's blown our minds, you know. So yeah, it's fucking ace, man. Fucking ace.
What about the other side of it? Obviously, getting up there and standing on stage and being the voice on stage. I kind of seen a little bit of a shift lately that you're starting to talk a little bit more as the voice of the band a little bit as well. You know, obviously Chris did a lot of that in the interim and things like that. But are you slowly coming out of your shell as a bit of a taking that frontman bit out to public domain a little bit as well?
Oh no, I don't want to take anything away from any of the guys. I like to talk, man. I like to talk, and I'm an idiot, and I'm not scared of saying stuff. So maybe that's why this sort of happens, you know.
Ideal frontman.
Basically, I'm the asshole at the front. Yeah, so you know, I don't think so. Maybe I am now coming out of my shell a bit more now. The dust has settled from, you know, because I was quite petrified, to be honest, about people's reaction to the album. You know, a new singer, like you say, is absolutely terrifying thing to do for a band, be it live or especially on an album, which you have to sell and you have to hit targets for. But yeah, now it's sort of like the dust has settled and we've got all the great reviews in, and you know, we've sold out of the album 4 times by ourselves. It went to #1 on Amazon Thrash charts, you know, over bands like Havoc for a good solid week and a half. I feel a bit more relaxed now. I feel like I can talk and not shit my pants so much.
Well, kind of. I guess in some ways, you know, you've justified your, you know, you're allowed to talk now in some ways, aren't you? Definitely. If you do it before the album comes out, it's like, who's this fucking knob? He's not even released anything.
Exactly. And if the album, everyone was like, oh, the album's shit, I'd have probably just kept quiet and let them deal with it.
Bring back Jay.
Not my fucking problem, boys. I'm the newbie.
We touched on it at the start that you're in. Is it Shrapnel? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Shrapnel. Yeah, I played guitar for those guys. Yeah.
Okay, so what was that? Was that thrash or was that kind of? Because I don't think I'm aware of them really.
Oh man, you should check them out. I mean, they've had issues over the years with lineup changes, etc. But they're sort of, it's behemoth, like black and death metal. I'm a huge fan of death metal. I'm a huge fan of black metal and big fan of Behemoth. It's an Evangelion era Behemoth. So, yeah, I mean, I joined those guys 2017 maybe. And we started writing an album. And we released an album with them, Horror Vacui. And that's pretty good. It was different. It was nice to almost... Because when you're the front man of a thrash band, and, you know, you've got no veil in front of you. You are what they see, and they expect stuff of you. When you're in a black and death band, and I'm putting pig's blood on myself and corpse paint, and I'm wearing leather, you know, it's almost a different feel. It's an art to it. It's a stage theatrical show. So I really enjoyed that. But unfortunately, when I joined Shrapnel and things started taking off there, you know, those guys needed more commitment, and I just couldn't do it. And personally, thrash has always been my thing. You know, thrash. I was in thrash bands before Shrapnel. I played in thrash bands all over Norwich. So, yeah, it's great though, man. You should check them out. They're a good band. I don't think they're doing much at the moment, but they're a good band.
I'll have a look. You've got to be careful saying that you like wearing leather and, you know, big stage shows. You'll be in fucking Judas Priest soon.
For me, if Judas Priest can pay me, I will be there. I'll wear all the leather and spandex you want.
When Andy Sneap comes knocking, you'll be there ready, Kev. I'll step in now, mate.
We'll join Judas.
Yeah. So with regards to kind of you saying you made some changes at the kind of back end of the album, obviously a lot of it was done. Did you have, you know, were you adding some changes in that kind of fundamentally changed some of those songs? And, you know, are you going to kind of getting more and more involved in the songwriting process going forward?
I think yes and no. I mean, Personally, I like to sit at the back for a while. Like, so we're writing album number 4 now. It's the demos of the guitars and drums. I'm going to say are probably 80% there. We have more than what we need, but that's what we did with the last album as well. Because I think there was about 3 songs and the 2 songs and a cover that didn't make it to Palace because it was just so long. But yeah, I like to sit at the back. I like to see how it unfolds. I like to, personally, the way I write lyrics is I like to have a complete song. I can't sit there and just write words on a piece of paper like some sort of Romeo and Juliet poet, just pulling it out of my ass. I need something. I need to listen to the song and be like, yeah, this song's about, fucking eating someone or whatever. So yeah, I sit at the back end and then halfway through I'll sort of come forward. It's just the way I prefer to work. It's the way I did it with the last one as well. Me and Nath worked on demos together and we said, we kind of chewed the fat and talked about what we wanted for like the opening track. So Might of Cygnus on Palace was me and Nath sitting there and he was like, I've got this demo. And it was like, yeah, this is great. And, I sat there and wrote the lyrics once the demo was done, once he sent the demo and Buried. That was the same night I think we found the song Buried Alive. We were sitting there like, we need another thrashy song for the album. What the fuck can we do? What can we do? And he was just like, he played this demo on his laptop. He's like, I just found this. And we're like, fuck it, that'll do. That'll fucking do.
That much, yeah.
That guy is sitting on a fucking riff farm. It's unbelievable.
So is that your normal method? You don't come up with, I'm going to do a concept about, as you say, eating someone's face. It's more you'll hear something in a riff or you'll hear something in the song structure and you'll go, I could create something about, and it all builds from there as a story, I guess, that fits over the top of it.
You wouldn't for instance, you wouldn't listen to a thrash song and associate it with like love making, would you? Unless you're Tankard, Fistful of Love. But but I need to listen to a song. I need to know its feeling because the crowd don't want me to write lyrics to a random song and just chuck it on something and then it not work, and I don't want that either. So yeah, I like there to be something complete, something to have a feeling, something to make me think. I want that song to make me think about. So Cygnus was very much like that midsection. It was, God, this feels quite spacey, And I was listening to a lot of Rush at the time, like I always do, and I was like, yeah, this is going to be about Cygnus, the black hole, X1, but I'm going to do it different. I'm going to do it about being torn apart instead of, being dragged through this thing of beauty and stuff. So, yeah.
Put that thrash edge on a normal situation and yeah,
exactly.
So, you guys were, you're pretty busy. You hit kind of lockdown in full effect, and you've done playthroughs and web content, and you work pretty hard. Has there been there's obviously a shit ton of negative issues that have been caused by COVID, but do you think it's had some positives for you guys as a band? Has it allowed you to kind of to really regroup and think and kind of approach put a bit of extra work into the back end of the business, or has it done anything positive out of all this bullshit?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's always positives to a negative for sure. I mean, we haven't had a chance to tour yet, which should be happening in 2021. We've got things lined up already. But yeah, I mean, it made us realize that, social media is really bloody important. Like we sat there on launch and we were getting everything prepared and we saw the impact of how much effort we put into social media and we do things quite old school still. We don't like doing all this big nonsense of check out this video. I mean, we do that, but we prefer to do one-to-ones, talk to people and stuff. And we spent a lot of time talking to fans. What are you guys listening to at the moment? What's going on here? What are your great albums at the moment? So yeah, we learned a lot from our fans and people, from the genre. So we spent a lot of time connecting, a lot of time getting ready for the album launch. A lot of time working. The Might of Cygnus music video was all done in lockdown from our phones, and we had Ash from Ash TV, like the Cygnus black hole thing on the video. He made it out of a pint glass. So we were working with him on that, and
yeah, that making of video was amazing. That was kind of in some ways more amazing than the actual finished product.
Yeah,
the way him and his workshop garage thing with all this kind of bits of shit that we'd normally throw away that he cobbled into this this amazing way of, the reflections in the glass of the visors and all that sort of stuff.
It was crazy. It was crazy. And then obviously we've been talking to the label, etc., trying to get other things sorted. We spoke to Costin, who done the artwork for Palace, Costin Chirianu, done At the Gates, done the Ghost Dance Macabre single. We speak to him, we sorted out the Begin Again video during lockdown. Yeah, it's been a good time to reflect. It's been a good time to reflect and work on things that we usually wouldn't have time for when touring. And get really, really drunk. I've been getting so drunk during lockdown. I'm kind of glad to be back at work now because my body is a mess.
That's it. Don't just stay away from the scales and don't look in the recycling bin on a Monday morning when you see how much fucking beer.
Dude, I remember I got back to work and I finished my first shift at work, a couple of months ago, and I took my shirt off and I got home and I sat down and bent over, and honestly, I looked like a yogurt in a black bag. I was like, oh fucking hell, man, let myself go. So
yeah, I know the feeling, and even the sweaty mosh pit's good to burn a few calories off, but without that as well, we're fucked.
At least there's a positive to it.
Yeah. So you kind of touched on it a second ago that you listen to a lot of death metal and kind of thrash and stuff. Are you do you still kind of I hate this word, but do you still consume a lot of music? Are you listening to a lot of young bands? You're listening to lots of the big guys as well?
Yeah. I mean the big guys for me. I love the classics, Sodom, Destruction, Onslaught's new things now come out. The Testament album, to be fair, I was actually really impressed with. I was like, Jesus, this is better than the last two. Why couldn't they have released this earlier? And a lot of the new bands, you got Militia. I mean, is Alfred? I think it's Alfred from Militia. Yeah. He's always eager for me to hear their new, EP and stuff. He sent me that, Sacrifice and things. Yeah, which is killer. It's killer to hear a young band with a different sound. You got Riptide as well. You got Devastator from Derby. I'm always keeping my ear to the ground to listen to what people younger than me are getting involved in, because sometimes you lose track.
Well, you guys are, starting to become the old farts a bit now. When I said to you at the start, when you got these the Steel Mage guys I was talking to the other day, the drummer's 14 for fuck's sake.
It's fucking ridiculous. Right, he shouldn't be fucking playing gigs, right? He should be in bed.
Yeah, exactly.
He should be in bed. He should be hitting drums at 9 o'clock. He should be in bed. No, I've listened to those guys. I've yet to actually buy their EP. Is it an EP they released? Or
yeah, it was an EP. Yeah.
I haven't actually bought that yet. I've been wanting to buy it. If they're listening to this, fucking hook me up, boys. Yeah,
I'll send them.
I'm a poor thrash musician like you.
They sent one to Jeff from Annihilator. So he's got fucking loads of money. He could have paid for his own. So I'm sure they can hook you up.
That's a bit cheeky from Jeff. I think that's a bit cheeky.
I'm sure, knowing the way those guys manipulate their social media, it was their push rather than his pull.
Exactly.
They did sign it for him as well, though, which was a nice touch.
I hope he asked for it to be signed as well. That'd be great for him.
That'd be worth millions in a few years.
There's some great thrash from all over the place. You've got Italy, you've got Vile Blast from there, you've got Chemicide from Costa Rica, a great bunch of lads.
Yeah, I bought a load of their stuff. Their album this year is absolutely fucking brilliant.
Inequality.
That's the one.
Yeah, we're hoping to get something sorted with those guys because we like them as people as well. They're proper ready to party. Bonded, obviously from Germany, with good, for Berneman, Maka, and Ingo.
Yeah.
There's loads of cool stuff coming out. It's hard to keep up. So this comes back to that whole the younger guys knowing the modern format of I just can't keep up with it. These guys were raised on Spotify and YouTube. I had to trade CDs with my uncle and my friends to be able to get to listen to anything. I had to go down to Prism Leisure in Great Yarmouth, unfortunately, which is where I'm from. For all my sins, I do have 6 fingers. It makes me better at bass. I had to go.
One, surely.
Yeah, well, exactly. Just eat. That's it. I had to go and buy Rain and Blood. So these guys have got it on lockdown. They have it over there. I'm sure they know more music than me.
It's very different, isn't it? You're probably a generation after me. Tape trading and going around to your mates with your C90 and slapping the vinyl on and pressing record and listening to the Friday Rock Show and doing that. All that shit. And
whatever CD we could get hold of and listening to Kerrang when it used to be a proper thing on TV, when it used to have good music.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, it is amazing. When I kind of first started going to gigs when I was kind of 15, 16 and to where we are now and how easy music is to get. And it's fucking amazing, really. It is.
It's amazing, but it's also a killer, isn't it? Did you see that interview that the Spotify CEO did recently?
No, I haven't seen that. What was?
Oh, he was just like, he was, it was something like, you have to read up about it, but the guy is such a cheeky twat.
The whole thing's a piss take, really, isn't it? You guys are doing all the work, and he's just fucking cashing in on the sponsorship revenue.
Yeah, I would call him a C-bomb, but I daren't drop it just in case.
You might have everything taken off the Spotify before you.
Yeah, exactly. He'd be like, "You what, mate? That's it. End off."
Yeah. So all that streaming money that you won't be able to buy a packet of salty vinegar flavored crisp with, that'll be fucking terrible.
Yeah, that'll be it. But I get it. I get why it's going. I get why it's going there, and inevitably, I think it will take over and all physical forms of media will probably stop. It's just the way it is. You can't stop it. I think it's inevitable. It's so easy and so at your hand, and it's that constant feed me mentality of the generation now that you can't stop it, really.
Yeah, and I think unfortunately, we sound like a bunch of miserable old fuckers here now, but I think they miss out. They don't. I used to listen to albums front to back. No skip, especially in the car where you have to wait till the tape finished to turn it over. It's fucking, and it's everything's shuffle mode now, isn't it? Your life is on shuffle mode.
Yeah, that's something we had to apply to the new album as well. When we were sorting the track listing out for Palace, we had to sit there, and it wasn't just right. Okay, this is obviously definitely an opener with Might of Cygnus, and you have a hard copy of the album. So it's different. It's got the intro on it, as opposed to what it has on the stream sites. Pardon. But we had to completely change the way we would approach a track listing because of streamers. Because most streamers will listen to the first 4 songs and then they'll fuck off.
Yeah.
So we had to try and give it some of everything in the first 4 songs. But track listing's always a hard job.
Yeah, and right. Again, it's different, isn't it? Say back in either tape or vinyl, you look for a side 1 closer and a side 2 opener, and all those sorts of things.
That was it, man. You actually listened to the whole album.
Yeah, exactly. It was rare that once you put it on, I've got some albums that I probably played the A side a lot more than the B side, but at least you paid a whole chunk of it. But
we do sound really miserable, don't we? We should probably move on before we grab
another bit. So. Talking about those kind of tape trade, the CD trading, what bands, do you really remember as highlights? What were the bands that made you think, fucking hell, this is what I want to do? Or was it never really a dream? Was it just an accident?
There's 3 that massively stand out to me. So the first one was I got given it by a friend, and it was Nirvana, Nevermind. Classic album. First time I'd heard really crunchy electric guitars, and I was like, yeah, fuck, this is cool. I'm digging this grunge stuff. And then that's why I started to become a singer, because I was a singer way before I was a guitarist. And then my uncle, my uncle lent me Kill 'Em All by Metallica. And I was like, holy shit, what the fuck is this noise? Like James Hetfield was just shouting. And I was like, this is fucking brilliant. This is absolutely great. And then I remember I swapped it with a guy at school for a night for Megadeth Back to the Start. And, I got to listen to everything from them, not just one album. And I was like, these are even better. This guy can't sing for shit, but holy fuck, his riffs are tight. Got that back, gave it back to my uncle, and I thought, right, I need to buy my own thrash metal CD. And I went into my local music store, and I said to the guy behind the counter, which I know quite well, his name's Simon. I still see him at gigs nowadays. Older fellow, massive Iron Maiden fan. But I said to him, I want a thrash metal CD. I want to buy my first thrash metal CD. And he took me over to S, and he picked up Slayer, Rain and Blood, and he handed it to me. I was like, okay, I'll buy this. And I remember putting it on, because I had a Walkman still at the time. I put it on my Walkman on the way home on the bus, and that Angel of Death scream came in. Yeah, I was just like, what the fuck? This is amazing. And the rest is history. The rest is all history.
So did you go back? Because, what sort of year was that? Where were you in the...
Oh, shit. That must have been about 2008.
Oh, fucking hell. God, only 5 minutes ago then.
Yeah, well, 5 minutes ago for you, that's like half my fucking life. Yeah, I didn't have the internet. I didn't have the internet till I was like 16. I don't think.
Fucking hell! I don't think internet existed till I was about 20. So you got fucking.
yeah.
But yeah, so you kind of got the ability to go back and. It's always quite interesting, isn't it? Because I was actually a little bit late. I was kind of 88, 89 when I started, sitting in the back of my maths class, not taking any attention to any of it. And they made, here's a bit of Slayer and here's a bit of Metallica, and it all kind of grew from there. But you've kind of come backwards from what bands sound like today in some instances, and worked your way and kind of, how the fuck did they get from there to there?
Yeah, I remember at one point, when Bullet for My Valentine were a really big thing when they were releasing like their first 2 albums. I think, listen to those guys and being like, this is cool. And I just worked my way backwards, and I've done it ever since. I fell in love with the 90s grunge, and then heard Metallica from like the 83, and then got into sort of Death and Carcass from there. Slayer, etc. And then now I'm working my way back. I'm a massive Rush fan. I love their 70s stuff. Big Cream fan at the moment as well. Listening to a lot of Cream, and like psychedelic sort of rock, and like the 50s stuff as well.
See, you really are a bassist, because this is all the stuff that Pete D tells me to go and listen to.
Bless him.
It's a fucking start. He's like the encyclopedia Metallica, and he's fucking amazing.
Oh, fucking. When I see him at gigs, I love the guy, but I daren't talk to him about what he's listening. He'll just fucking go and won't stop. And I'm like, yeah, I need to be on stage in like 10 minutes, mate.
Yeah, I went up and crewed for them in Scarborough on the couple of dates of the Tour for the Entitlement, and I sat with Pete afterwards and we're having a chat, and I'd seen him a few days before at Voivod, and he was going, oh no, I'm listening, and I'm like, how the fuck did you come into all this stuff? And he shares the occasional thing with me on Dropbox and that, and it blows my mind, because I didn't really give a fuck about music, and then I got into thrash, and that for me was my gateway. Whereas Pete goes funkadelic and kind of all this, and it's like, and down, there's some fucking rabbit holes.
It kind of matches his personality, though, doesn't it? He's got that whole like crazy personality, Pete. Especially when you see him on stage. Yes, isn't it? And that music rubs off on him. Yeah,
he's a star.
Great guy.
Nice guy. You've obviously that gig I saw then, which for some reason I thought was that your first official gig then? Well, like after you were standing in?
My first official,
right?
Quotation marks.
Yeah, that's obviously what made me think, because I think a lot of people, that was the first time people were. It was clicking that you were the new front guy, and you weren't weren't standing, but. If I remember right, I had quite a bit to drink by then, but that went down really well. You were, because there was who was on with you? Is it Primitar?
Primitar, yeah, we've talked about those guys before. Yeah, they're great guys. Yeah, great guitarists as well. Really fucking flashy boys. Yeah, that was the first official gig. Yeah. Official.
And obviously, was that kind of in some ways quite a safe environment? Because obviously, the Acid Rain fans are there to be abused by H, because he likes calling them all cunts.
Well, that's typical H fashion, isn't it, at the moment? Bless him. But I think maybe lockdown's got to him a bit.
Yeah, someone take fucking TikTok off him.
Yeah, fucking please, bless him. God, I know he's having a great time, and that's his personality, and he loves to be fucking weird and wacky and stuff. But sometimes I'm like, fucking hell. Yeah, London gig, was that safe? Is London ever safe? It was all right. It was like the first gig, you say official, and I finished work. We travelled up there. We had a problem. I mean, I think we had a problem with some of the gear while we were sound checking and stuff. And it was one of those gigs I was like, is this going to be a disaster? Is this going to be a disaster? And we played the opening chord from 101. And there was fuck all on the floor. There was hardly anyone watching. I was like, oh fuck, here we go. Here we go, playing to a man and his dog again. We've all been there.
They're all in the pub next door still.
And then halfway through, the floor just filled, and everyone was digging it, and there was there were people having a good time, and there's some beer being thrown, and it was fucking great, man. Yeah, that was a good gig. It was a good gig. I didn't know you were there though. Didn't know you were there.
I was quite new to doing this site because I've only been doing this for like 18 months, so I was kind of I was still finding my feet, and like with 50 followers on Instagram, and you feel a bit of a cheeky twat turning up and going, I do stuff for this blog, and it's like you fucking got again, it's this social media thing, isn't it? Back in the day, I would have been a bit less lazy and done a fanzine and spent my whole life typing shit up, and that gives you credibility. But
it's like that whole everyone can be a model on the internet thing, isn't it? As well.
Yeah, exactly. Any fucking idiot can talk about thrash online. I'm living proof.
Any idiot can play thrash, mate. There you go.
Well, I was going to say it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, isn't it? So you kind of
play thrash are dumb.
And no amount of kind of degrees, PhDs, or any other fucking qualification is going to disprove that fucking analogy, is it?
Mate, I don't have a bachelor's in chugging the E string, and I'm pretty sure Alex Skolnick doesn't either.
Brilliant. You were kind of talking about, played that, because there was another couple of Acid Rain gigs. I think you were meant to be up in Manchester with them and stuff as well. On the some other dates of the tour that have all been pushed back and postponed.
There was one in Manchester we were supposed to play with them. Oh God, I can't remember where that was at. We had, Evile as well. We had the Evile Gamma Bomb show, which is, that's a pretty fucking rad show. Three of, I'm going to say, the biggest UK thrash bands, because we are. But and that got cancelled and pushed back. That sold out within like a couple of weeks, I think.
Yeah,
that was fucking great. It sold out within a couple of weeks. I think
it's crazy, isn't it? There's a real appetite at the minute. I think like Zentrix tickets have gone on sale today for March, for April, May time. Do you see that? Do you feel now there is a real I'll use the word resurgence, but it feels like thrash is a fucking big deal again at the moment.
No, to be honest. My honest, and that's not knocking the new guys at all. They're great. Their bands are fucking killer. Like I say, Devastator is probably my favorite UK underground band. I fucking love those guys. But the problem with thrash is, and that we found a lot of the time, especially being Shrapnel, because we're a bit of an enigma. We're selling CDs across the world. We're sold out 4 times, and people still in the UK haven't even heard of us. And I think that's a big part of. I think there's a big elitism in thrash, and that's that whole opinion of if it's not from 1986, then it fucking blows chunks. But I think that's what's holding thrash back. And I think a lot of those bands, Eradicator are a prime example of that. Their last album was very proggy, very Mastodon-esque. A lot of the thrash bands, I think, are kind of getting bored of the elitism now. And it's time to let the younger bands step in and take control instead of being like, oh, it's not fucking Master of Puppets, therefore it's shit.
It's a vicious circle, isn't it? Because we're all
a fucking massive, and
we're a bunch of pricks for it. Yeah, we're a bunch of pricks because we're always moaning. Oh, it sounds exactly the same as the last fucking album. And then the next thing we're saying is, what the fuck are they doing that for? It's fucking, that's not thrash. Yeah. And you're like, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Yeah, exactly. It's about finding that middle ground. And that's where I think I spoke to Bearded Monkey about it a couple of weeks ago. And I think it's really important now, especially for the younger bands and even us, is to find your own take on it. You can still be thrash. You can still do thrash, but you've got to find your own take on it. If not, you just get lost in the pile of shit. Yeah. And that people don't care about it. So it's really important for those bands. And I know they're young, and I'm sure they will find their way. But yeah, so I do think there's a resurgency, but I don't think anyone cares. And that sounds really negative from me, but it's just that whole elitism that's going on, really.
Yeah, it's a more of an underground resurgency rather than making it into the big time. Yeah,
definitely.
Do you think that UK thrash, is it exportable? I think Onslaught manage it. I said you guys manage it. I think
like if you were to see our sales charts and our streams and everything like that, Sweden, Germany, USA, UK is like 5th on the list. It's really weird. It's like, that's what I was explaining to you earlier. We're such an enigma in the UK that people haven't even heard of us. And then they listen to us for the first time. And we get messages over Facebook, or we get messages personally saying like, where the fuck have you guys been? Like, we've been here for 10 years, you twat.
Yeah.
Like, where have you been? Yeah, so it's an odd one. I think UK thrash is very exportable, but people have just got to put their money where their mouth is, really. You know, people need to get these bands over to different countries and doing different things. It's the way we grow.
Yeah. And that's obviously going to get, you know, without getting all political, that's probably going to get harder post-Brexit as well, when you guys are going to have to stump up a fuck ton of money to pay for, you know, extra tax and shit.
That's the thing. We're sitting on a few tours now, which I can't mention because it's you know, it's in the works and may not happen, may happen. But we're sitting on a couple of tours now, and we're like, all right, yeah. So say we get this many blah, blah, blah dates in Europe and this over here. What's the work visas going to be like? Because no one knows yet. Because COVID's hit so soon after Brexit, nobody fucking knows. So it could be that it becomes completely unaffordable for smaller thrash bands to be able to go and play.
And that's
really sad.
And it goes both ways as well, though, doesn't it? Because, you know, you were talking about some of those smaller thrash bands, and you said that some of the small German bands, some of those small Italian bands, Demolizer from the Netherlands. I've just been listening to their new album. Those guys all want to come to the UK, because I think they see the UK scene as, especially the club, you know, the pub and club scene, as really vibrant. But you know, let's just hope it doesn't become too expensive.
I hope after COVID and everything that basically people don't take it for granted anymore, the whole music scene, and that gives a huge resurgence to gigs and that sort of environment. As long as it's safe, obviously. I don't want people to get fucking COVID and wipe out their whole family to watch me twat an E-string for half an hour. But, you know, as long as it's, I think that'll happen. I think that'll happen.
To be honest, I've been to some gigs that social distancing was happening about, you know, for the last 5 years. It didn't have to be me and the support act watching the fucking main band is about all you need, really. So.
Oh, wait, the support band stayed. Fucking
sometimes. I went up to the Griffin in Bristol to see the Illyrian lads because I'd heard so much about them. And they played, and they had this guy who's like a one-man death metal thrash guy. Like, he's like a one-man band, but it was a bit fucking random. But he was playing, and it was me and two of the Illyrian lads watching him, and it was like, okay, this is going to be one of those fucking nights. So and I think
was it where?
No, I was just going to say, you know, is that, you know, obviously that. Do you find that quite demoralising? You know, if you've obviously, everyone's had them, but you turn up and you stood up in front, and there's like, you know, one bloke facing the other way talking to his girlfriend, and everyone else who's propping up the bar. Is that
no? Because I think I'm the kind of front man that will take that girlfriend's place. I like to think that if that guy isn't there to watch a gig, or like, you know, he's paid his ticket and he's not actually going to watch, and he's going to try and, you know, finger his girlfriend up against the wall for half an hour, that I'm not having that. I'm not having that at all, man. Yeah. So no, yeah. We've all been there. We'll all play gigs like that. So.
Do you think that's sometimes the hard, you know, I mean, when you give these young bands a support slot, and, you know, you get a low, you know, it's nice to see actually a lot more bands are giving a local band at least, you know, slot 3 on the roster.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, you do feel for those lads at times, because, you know, when you're the big band on the road, you know, you're the kind of the one with the new album, and then, you know, three kids from Bristol are playing on stage before, you know, that's a big challenge, isn't it?
We always make sure we watch them. You know, we're not one of these bands that will fuck off and go drink beer. I mean, we will do that
while watching them.
we will do that. Oh God, I remember the first night of the Wolf tour, and Primatide were touring with us, and before they even got in the dressing room, we drunk all their beer, and we're like, oh fuck, sorry, dudes. But we always make sure we watch the support acts, because you expect the same from them, right? Being a headline band, it doesn't matter how big you are, it doesn't matter how impressive you are on guitar. You know, you show respect, because everyone's out there doing their thing, trying to make it and doing their art. So if to the support bands that fuck off early, actually this is a reach out to the support bands that fuck off early, fuck you.
we'll be back for a name and shame. Yeah.
Yeah, we're coming for a name and shame.
Okay, so hopefully we're coming out of lockdown kind of quite slowly, but it's going to kind of, who's kind of first gig on, if you could have go and see anyone as your first gig on post-lockdown Britain, who would you like to see? Sodom. Okay.
Easily it would be Sodom. I've yet to see them in my life, and it would blow me away to see Sodom. I'm a massive fan. Asphyx as well. I'd love to see Asphyx. God, there's so many. I wouldn't know where to start. This is an unfair question. Veto.
All day festival, yeah.
all the bands, mate.
Everybody. So, okay. So I've just pulled up outside in my Back to the Future DeLorean. Where do you want to go back to? Bay Area 86, 87, or Florida for the death metal scene in 1991?
91.
Straight to death metal. Oh, okay.
Straight to death metal. Well, why would you go to 86, right? Why you go to 91? Because 86 has already happened. That music's still there. Those bands are still playing. And then you get to 91 and you get to listen to Altars of Madness and Covenant album by Morbid Angel. Anyone who says, I want to just go back to 86, fuck you.
There was better to come.
There was better. Of course, there was better to come, man. And you had like Sodom releasing things like Agent Orange in 90 or 89. So you're missing out on some killer albums. Don't limit yourself. Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
Quick fire questions from some of the social media followers. Okay. Liam from Hellfected asked the first one, but we've already talked about it. But he's got another one at the end, so I'll save that as a special treat. Yeah. You'll understand why in a minute. Xfins X. What's the best way to get out there, especially in the Norwich Norfolk scene?
The Norwich Norfolk scene's
special.
Special. It's special. Well, you've got to have web knees. You've got to have crawled out of the sea. You've got to be inbred. No, Norfolk's. It's a bit of a weird one. There's a big metalcore scene. It's not a big thrash scene at all, which is weird because we're the biggest band from Norwich. To get into the Norwich scene, just ask us. Just ask us. Send me a message, mate, and I will sort that out for you. I've got a couple of promoters that we can speak to. Thrashosaurus. If Thrashosaurus happens next year, message Errol or message me, and we'll get you on that.
Yeah, because that was the conversation I was having with the Elimination lads the other week. Is that?
Oh, have you heard their EP?
Yeah, I had that on advance.
Yeah,
that's out tomorrow. It's awesome. Yeah, really good.
Great guys. Yeah, I'm really impressed with it.
Neil's another reluctant bassman, isn't he? He decided that he couldn't find anyone he fucking trusted to do the job, so he did it himself.
Yeah, it's about time that band, sort of sorted themselves out and got some more music out there, because their last two albums I really enjoyed. So yeah, I'm glad about that. Yeah, Dave's pretty cool.
Yeah, Dave and Lee as well. I had all three of them. They just finished practice. So So as you say, Lee was the he's kind of in a black metal band at some point when he had Corpse Paint, the whole lot.
Yes, Salsag. Yeah, Salsag. Yeah, really good.
You got Psychop down there as well. So that there is a little.
Oh yeah, Annihilate. There's a little sweat box full of dirty, greasy men in tight trousers and high tops for sure. Yeah.
Making hot chili sauce. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fuck.
Okay. Next one up is from @Mace104. How important is criticism to progression?
It's very important. It's so important. I've had people for this new album saying that they love the album, saying that it's great, but that, you've got to take it all with a pinch of salt, because that can be people blowing smoke up your ass, right? The most important reviews are the negative reviews. I mean, I'm not talking about someone going, "Oh, this is shit," because if they haven't got anything critical to say, then they can fuck off. But, it's the things that, constructive criticism, how you can improve, how that person thinks you can improve, and then analyze it with your bandmates, analyze it with other people that have listened to the album, compare it to other reviews, compare it to what your mates think. It's really important. It's really important. If you don't listen to people and you don't listen to fans of what they think, then you might as well give up now, because if not, who are you doing it for? And I guess it's really important.
We kind of touched on it before, but fans have got that ability to reach out now and talk directly to bands. It's not like writing a letter to the label and all that sort of nonsense that used to try send a stamped address envelope.
Yeah, we get approached, like I say, Militia approached me, asking for critique on the, their new EP. I had a guy today from Italy. I think it was Italy. I'm not sure, but he started a thrash band. He sent me a track that he wants me to listen to. So we've done it with people as well. We send it to our closest friends who we know will give us an honest answer. We send it to, the label, etc. Getting an honest opinion is important.
Sorry, yeah. So you're saying you kind of go out and reach out. I guess that's a risk. If you're in your own little bubble of the band, you don't just want to rely on each other's opinions, because you kind of
No, exactly. And if we all relied on Nate's opinion from Shrapnel, he'd just be like, everything's shit, fuck this. So yeah, it's really important. You've got to take critique. If not, you'll never evolve. You'll never get better.
Okay, so next one's from the Madiside Lads, which are Welsh thrash band. I'm not sure if you've heard them. They're kind of making a bit of a comeback. They're just released...
cool. Get them to send me something. Yeah,
will do. So they said the new album is killer, but were there any setbacks along the way?
Yeah, definitely money. Money was a big setback. You've obviously got things that you tackle in the studio, and we spent 4 months in the studio on Palace, and there were so many things that would change, and even to the last, I think, like 5 hours before we sent the label off to be pressed, we added the piano part in for Begin Again. So there was a lot of stress on this.
Down to the wire.
Down to the wire, definitely. And something we've learned from this album is do all that shit before you get in the studio. Like, because if not, it's a fucking shambles. Absolute shambles.
Okay, Sean Rage, what's your favourite solo to play yourself and also listening to on another album?
Oh, on guitar? Tornado of Souls. Tornado of Souls, easily. No competition.
So that to play and listen to?
Yep.
Perfect. Yeah. And that leads us really nicely into Liam's final question. Would you let Dave Mustaine finger your bum for the tastiest cookie in the world?
Yeah, obviously.
Goes without saying.
What, this is what was it, Liam? Yeah, this is 2020. This is 2020. Like, fingering bums is fine and cookies are even better. Not only that, it's Dave Mustaine, right? So while he's fingering my butt, he's going to be like, what do you mean?
and praying to Jesus as well. It's all good.
Oh, yeah, that's fucking weird, right? Like, that guy needs to play Good Morning Black Friday again.
I'm just listening back. You say I'm listening to Dave Ellison's Eccleston, the bass player.
Dave
Eccles Cake. I'm listening to Junior's autobiography at the moment, and that's there's a lot of God. There's a lot of God in that, and it's a bit of a weird one.
It's amazing how much heroin these guys used to do, right?
Yeah,
like they used to smoke a lot of speed and heroin, like
and now they're both smoking Jesus.
They're smoking the Lord Reef, yeah. Fucking good.
Right, on that note, finally, shout outs, plugs, shameless promotions, or anything else you want to get off your chest.
Yeah, shout out to the Elimination guys. Your album drops tomorrow. I know this is going to come out post tomorrow, but yeah, I hope that all goes well, and I hope you get a good reception on that. Shout out to the Devastator boys. We'll take you out soon, I promise, once everybody stopped dying of AIDS and COVID. Shout out to the Shrapnel boys for getting me back into this. I mean, it's pretty cool for them to pick up a nobody and turn them into a somebody, right? I mean, that's pretty awesome with those guys. So shout out
Kingmakers.
Kingmakers. Oh God, wasn't that on that Super Collider album?
Yeah.
Fuck, that was shit.
That's awful.
That was so shit. That was so shit. Yeah, shout out to all our fans who bought the album. You've made a dream come true with this one. This has boosted us into the stratosphere. We're now, getting offers and views and purchases from all over the world. So yeah, just thanks to everyone, really. Just get pissed and just enjoy music. I don't know. I'm not good at the end bit.
No worries. Aaron, thanks for spending time with us, mate. Good luck with everything going forward, and hopefully get to see you on stage again really soon.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. We'll let you know when everything's happening, and we'll sort you out on a guest list. So
brilliant. Thanks, dude.
Excellent. Thanks, dude. In a bit. Bye-bye.
Cheers, mate.
now. Opposite was the top album 2020, so go check it out if you haven't. And as a bit of fresh news, I'm sure you know by now that the Baby File off the picture on the slot, and our mate Adam from Riptide come across to join on guitar. That doesn't mean the end for Riptide, however, we need good stuff, especially when they produce tracks like this.
Inhale the smoke. Chaos is set to rise. Inhale the set you free. Inhale the smoke.
That was really fun. Let's go north along the 10 version.
It's what goes on. Medicine comes from convoluted. The lights back. Black and white, the sisters integrate. No more scandals, no more right and wrong. Too late to turn back out in solitude. The ceiling to think of the bigger picture. Aware of the grand scheme. Still in motion. The image is all night. To be demonstrated. Completely unagreed. Aware of those who are laying the streets. Though they remain unseen. Untouchable. Your fears continue to dream. Oblivious of consequences, never digging too deep. I don't wanna think about it as I change the channel. Or even better, switch myself off. Being so simple people, put into practice is another matter. Don't do it good, that's how it was. But our innocence, except for both. Turn my eyes to the other side. There's cancer in the me. I know too much. I don't know enough. Concentrate the million of choice and mental infection. I'm afraid to stand the fate of others. Time to wait, others to die.